was also created in the sense of Nondumisu became the first black African player to score 50 for South Africa, regardless of the format, be it T20 or one day or test match. We're tuned to the leading edge with Scent, the pulse of cricket podcast. I'm Scent. Every week we bring you the stories, insights, and moments that drive this beautiful game. From the grassroots to the global stage, women's cricket, youth cricket, club heroes, and the stars lighting up international arenas. We've got it all. Welcome to the leading edge with Scent, brought to you by Roundly Podcast Studios. So this week we speak about, again, we get into the cricket, obviously, of it, and we'll talk about the Proteas. Just review that a bit with the men. And first and foremost, congratulations to the guys. Well played. It was a good final between South Africa and Australia. So we'll do a round about that. And then as well, congratulations to the Proteas women, which is quite interesting because we don't actually say Proteas men. Congratulations to them. They won the series against West Indies, the ODI series, and now we are in the T20 series. So we'll talk about the T20 series in the following podcast, but we will concentrate in this specific series on the ODI series, which is quite interesting. And then there's two specific articles we'll enter in each topic. As for the women, well, the fixtures came out. So we will talk about those fixtures in terms of how will South Africa maybe play and who they playing on which days. So yeah, now let's start with the men. And it starts at Lords. They call Lords the home of cricket, interestingly enough. But yeah, Lords is the home of cricket. But so let's run down the Proteas. So they won their WTC Final. They are the third team. South Africa, I believe there's three bowling: Marco Jansen, Lungisani Ngidi, and KG. I believe they could be South Africa's best ever trio pace attack. And before you come at me, listen. So I will compare them to Alan Donald, Makayantini, Sean Pollock. Those three, I think they had over 1,000 wickets between them, over 1,100 wickets between them. And then you have Dale Steyn, Vernon Philander, and Monet Moko. They also had a lot of wickets between them. But why do I believe these three could be the best when they have the least amount of wickets? Because Marco Jansen has 77 wickets, Lungisani Ngidi has 58 wickets, and KG has 336. No, 336. Yes, 336 wickets. So why do I think those three actually could be better than those other two legendary bowling trios? When you compare averages, for example, KG averages 21. Marco Jansen averages 22. And then you have Lungisani Ngidi. Lungisani Ngidi actually averages 23. So none of them averages more than 24. And when you look at the Sean Pollock, Makayantini, and Alan Donald, Makayantini averages about 27. So based just on that, this new trio is actually better. And then you also have your Monet Moko, Dale Steyn, and Vernon Philander. Again, you look at something specific. Monet Moko averages about 27 as well, 27, 29. That per se, this new trio is better. And then there's something specific that people have been talking about a lot lately: strike rate. KG has a really great strike rate. He does. It's 38. That's amazing. But also has a a strike rate of 38? Marco Jansen. Now, he might have played way less matches, but Marco Jansen has a strike rate of 38. And then you have Lungingiti. Lungingiti has a strike rate of 44. The only player that has a better strike rate than Lungi is actually Dale Steyn. Dale Steyn has a strike rate of 42, which is impressive. But Lungi has 44, and he's the number 3 in terms of that. Whereas you have Vernon Philander, I think it's close to 50. No. Vernon Philander's strike rate is above 50. Alan Donald has a strike rate close to 50. You have Makayandini's strike rate, I think, above 50. You have Mone Mokel's strike rate above 50. So, in terms of strike rate and averages, this new trio, or the current, I'm going to call them new, this current trio has better strike rate and a better average. But in terms of the wickets, obviously, they're less. And chances are they may end up playing much less tests overall than the previous trios. But that does not mean that they are not up there in terms of quality. But again, with my take, I think these 3 could be the best in the trios that we've ever had. So now, within that, I understand that people will say, but Lungingiti is not that great. I've stated that Lungi has 58 wickets, which is not that bad, but his strike rate is 44, which is great. His average is 23 point something, which is great. And some people wanted Lungi not to play the final, and I'm thinking, why? Because they were saying Dan Patterson should be the bowler that replaces Lungi, which is, again, it's being short-sighted in the sense of Dane Patterson averages 26 and his strike rate is, I think, 52. Another bowler that averages 26 in that team was Vian Mulder. Vian Mulder's strike rate as well is 54. So Vian Mulder and Dane Patterson was actually the 2 bowlers that were competing for a spot in the team. The reason why Vian Mulder gets picked over Dane Patterson, because they're similar. They're your line length bowlers, they're good in English conditions. But one thing that Vian Mulder has over Dane Patterson is the fact that he can bat. Vian Mulder was batting at number 3, so he's in the team as a batting all-rounder. You can call him your Cullis, if you want to call him your Cullis, but Vian Mulder was in the team as a batter as well, where Dane Patterson can't necessarily bat. He has to be in the team solely as a bowler. So that's literally that. So congratulations to the team. Well done, well played. Lungi took 3 wickets, I think, in the second innings. Marco Jansen took 3 wickets in the first innings, plus 1 wicket in the second innings. And as I said, KG took 4 wickets. I think Vian Mulder also had a wicket in the second innings, but yes. And I think props as well to Aiden Markram, in terms of Aiden Markram, the bowler. In the sense, yes, he did get the century, but he got 2 very important wickets. He got the wicket of Smith in the first innings, and Smith looked like he was getting Australia to a comfortable position, and Aiden Markram came with his part-time off spin, got the wicket. But the most interesting wicket that he actually did take, it was the one of Hazelwood. I think Hazelwood or Stark, whoever was the last person to get out. In the sense, on day 3, they were batting quite well. I think the batting conditions were quite good. And South Africa was getting frustrated. And Temba gave the ball to Aiden Markram. I think in his second over, he got the wicket. And after that, Aiden Markram went to go bat. Obviously, had to open the inning. So it's almost like he was tired of these bowlers not getting that last wicket. And it's like, you know what? I'll do the job, so that I can finally bat. But yeah, man, it was an interesting situation in the sense of Adrian getting that wicket. And then after getting that wicket, goes and bat and scores the 100 that takes South Africa home. you could say he took South Africa home, even though he was not the one that scored the winning runs. And the second part within this is that a lot of criticism came for South Africa in the sense we had a easier way to the World Test Championship, and I think this time around South Africa is going to have a tougher series in terms of will they get to the WTC final yet again in this next cycle. In the sense, they play. I think the only team they don't play is New Zealand and West Indies. So South Africa will play. Let me just check in my notes. Okay, cool. South Africa will play Australia at home, and will play England at home, and they'll play Bangladesh at home in the next two in this next cycle. And then they also play India away, Pakistan away, Sri Lanka away. That's that's going to be a challenge in the sense of three matches, three series is actually they playing it away, and they playing in subcontinent conditions. So Maharaj is going to be very important. Subrian is going to be very important. Muthesami is going to be very important. And whoever other spinner that South Africa is going to choose, be it Tsepondwandwe or any other spinner that Shukri will decide to go with. And playing spin. Playing spin is going to be key. Will South Africa make it to the next WTC final? I don't know. I sit here and saying that I don't know because India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, those are not easy conditions for any South African team. Can we do well there? Yes, we can. But we do have Australia and England home, so that's great for the fans, great for Super Sport, and great for Cricket South Africa, and all the other boards that will host at least one match, which is you'll have Western Province, you have your Gauteng Cricket Board, Lions, and I'm sure Titans as well. So I think those three will be getting a bulk of those Australia and England matches, including the Warriors, which is Eastern Province. Kingsmead. Kingsmead is never a good place to go to. South Africa tends to lose there, but it is what it is. The next WTC will be quite interesting for South Africa. I think, as I said, England, Australia home, that's great. And then we also have Bangladesh at home. That's going to be a win. The challenge is going to be India, Pakistan, and Sri Lanka away. I think we may lose India away, but we can lose that series and still make it to the WTC final. I'm pretty much sure about that. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. And the next assignment for the Proteas, they're obviously going to Zimbabwe. And the captain is said to be injured, so he won't be there. He won't be there based on the fact that I think he got a hamstring. So Maharaj will captain the side. That no replacement has been said who will replace Temba. But for me, I think that's not an issue because I was actually looking at the team and was predicting the 11 that will play without Temba. So I think without Temba actually made it easier for me to actually predict the playing lineup because I think Lisejo Senokwane will open with Tony DeZorzi. Vien Mulder will stick to number 3. And then you have Baby AB, aka Dewell Brevis, at 4. And then you have David Bellingham at 5. He stays in his position. And Kyle Verreynne stays also in his position at 6. And then you have Pretorius at 7, young Pretorius at 7. And then Coben Bosch will be one of the, I think he takes Janssen's place. And then you have the captain, Maharaj, at 9. Lungisani Gidi keeps his spot. And then you have Kwena Mapaka taking the number 11 position. That's my prediction for the playing 11 in the first test against Zimbabwe. And then Hamza Cody Yusuf, Britzker, and Sobrian, I think they miss out. That's it on that when it comes to men's cricket. But yeah, honestly, again, congratulations to South Africa. I'm excited for the Zimbabwe series because it's been a while since we've been there. It's back over 10 years, I think, which is not right. If we're going to grow cricket in Africa, how can the two African neighbors only play each other once every 10 years or once every 5 years? So, but then again, cricket is run by money. So if it's not profitable, how do we go there? Anyways, and another last congratulations. Congratulations, Shukri. Congratulations, man. So again, congratulations to the women. They won the series 2-1, the ODI series 2-1. Um, I had mentioned in the last podcast that South Africa would win. And guess what happens? South Africa lost the first match. I was like, oh my goodness, my protection. But the team rallied and won the next two. And the hero of, for me, the hero of that series was actually Nondomiso Shangas. I think no one expected her to actually be the catalyst to South Africa's win. And before you come at me and tell me other players did well, yes, other players did well, and I'm going to speak on them. But let's talk about this one. So South Africa lost the first match. In that match, well, Brits did well, Nadine did well with the bat. But that second match, South Africa started, South Africa batted first, and then batted slow. Laura was quite slow. Brits was quite slow. But when Nondomiso came in, she just decided, you know what, I'm going to be aggressive. I'm going to play my attacking game and let it be. When Brits got out, Sune came in, and those two revived South Africa's innings. Um, can't get to how much their partnership was, but the fact that Nondomiso came in and because she gave, I believe she also gave confidence to Sune because Sune now was like, oh no man, I don't, everything is not on me. Um, Nondomiso is actually playing quite well, so I can just play my game. And the Sune that was playing was the same Sune that we saw in the domestic cricket because Sune was actually batting with a strike rate over 100 in the Hollywood's bet Pro 50. Came in this match, Sune did exactly that as well. So that alone, again, I attributed to Nondomiso coming in and deciding, you know what, I'm going to play because Nondomiso got 55 of 48 balls. So that's a strike rate of over 100. And history was also created in the sense of Nondomiso became the first black African player to score 50 for South Africa, regardless of the format, be it T20 or one day or test match. And she was batting at number three. I don't know how long she's going to bat at number three because there's Bosch who bats at number three. But this was an experiment because in the Tri Series with Sri Lanka and India, she was batting at 5-4. So it seems like the coach is not exactly sure where she's going to bat, but he knows that he wants Nondomiso in that top six. So again, congratulations to the coach for doing this experiment, and it worked. You know, you gave her a chance, and she didn't just and you didn't just give the chance for the sake of giving a chance. I think Nondomiso was also the first black African player in domestic cricket to score 50. 100. Karabo Meso was, I think, the second one to score 100. I think she scored 100 last season or this season. But Nondomiso scored 100 in domestic cricket. And she was the first black African to do so. On top of Nondomiso, I think give props to Brits. Brits scored 50 in the first match and then scored 100 in the second match. And she gave props again to Nondomiso in the pre-match interview. She was like, Nondomuso came in, she played with aggression, and she believes that's how they should play. And guess what happened in that second match? She played like that and she scored 100. Another person that played well in that last match was the captain, Laura. But she is struggling in terms of the strike rate. I don't know if it's confidence or anything like that. But she did score 50. I think she scored like 72 or 76. So good for Laura for confidence going into the T20 series. So Cap played a 150th ODI match for South Africa, and she is second to former captain Mignon Dupria, but now she goes as Van der Merwe. She changed because she got married, so she's changed her surname to Van der Merwe. So have to respect that part. And then another person I have to give props to, obviously, is Sune. I think Sune played well in that second ODI match because she scored 76 of 65 balls, so that was great. Confidence boost. And then Ayanda Hlubi, the pace bowler, because I spoke about her in the last preview and I said she needs to up a game, and she did up a game, and she got in that second match. I think the first match she got the wicket of Haley Matthews, and she also got the wicket of Stephania Taylor. So those are quite huge wickets to take, and she was bowling with aggression. So that is good for South Africa. Masabata class. Oh, Masabata. She was class in that third T20 match. Third ODI match. She was actually quite class. I think she took 4 wickets in that match as well. And the last props that I'm actually going to give to is Nonkululeko Mlaba. She took 4 for 33, her career best figures in that second ODI match. And yeah, man. And I had written an article about her recently in the sense of because Nonkululeko has been, but she's the leader of the spin attack. But one thing that she's struggled with, she has been good in T20s, and she at some point was the number 1 T20 bowler in the world. But when it comes to 50 over cricket, she has struggled. In this series, and the series previous to this one, which was the Tri Series, I think she improved. In that Tri Series, she took 6 wickets she took 6 wickets in 3 matches. She didn't play the last match against Sri Lanka. And she was South Africa's best bowler, along with Chloe Tryon. But Chloe took 5 wickets in that last match. So Chloe got a fifer and only 1 wicket. So you can look at it that way. But at the end of the day, Mlaba came to the series with confidence, and I think she is finally taking or understanding her ODI role in the team, and she's getting to a point where she's taking wickets, which is quite important going forward. So now what's next for South Africa in terms of the team? One thing that we're still seeing is that the coach is still working on combinations. There's certain things that we don't understand, that I don't understand, in the sense of I still feel Durkinson should be batting higher up the order. That's my opinion. But again, I am not going to question the coach, because the coach is the coach. He's the man who's doing things, and he won the series as well. So I want to give props to the coach in the sense of he's not afraid to make decisions. As I said, Unondumiso Shanghais is batting in the top 6. Another Black African batter is batting in the top 6, and he seems to have faith in her, is Snalo Jafta. Snalo Jafta, I think, got 20 in that first match. But in the last 2 matches, she did kind of fail. But her wicket-keeping skills were superb. I think if I'm to give props to Snalo Jafta, her wicket-keeping skills were superb, especially in that last match, especially in that last ODI match. So again, props to the coach. We'll see how it goes. I think he's still working on his combinations there. but we'll see. The World Cup is around the corner and the fixtures are out. South Africa is to play England first. South Africa is going to play New Zealand, and then India. First three matches. So those three matches are quite crucial. We have a score to settle with England because they eliminated us in the last World Cup in the semi-finals. We have a score to settle with New Zealand because, well, New Zealand did beat us in the T20 World Cup last year. I'm sure we have a score to settle with India. I don't know where, but we just have to win that match. And then the fourth match will be against Bangladesh. And then the fifth match will be against Sri Lanka. So we're playing Sri Lanka in Sri Lanka, and then we're playing Pakistan in Sri Lanka. Now, the reason being we're playing Pakistan, because Pakistan is playing all their matches in Sri Lanka because of the tensions between India and Pakistan. So that's the case. And then we play Australia. So hopefully by the time we have to play Australia, which will be our last fixture, we would have qualified for the semi-finals. And hopefully we avoid Australia in that semi-final. I'm not saying South Africa can't beat Australia, but rather look to avoid the best team in the world. And hopefully we can go against England, we can go against India, but Australia, I'd rather face them in the final because we have a score to settle with them in the final. So yes, that's the rundown I have with the Proteas, the men and the women for this week. And thank you for listening to Leading Edge with Scent at Roundly Podcast Studios. Scent is out. We are out. Until next time, see you guys. Thanks for tuning into the Leading Edge with Scent, the Pulse of Cricket podcast, proudly produced by Roundly Podcast Studio in partnership to bring you the stories and the voices of cricket. Until next time, stay on the leading edge of the game.